evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm really excited to talk with Trey today about storytelling and about best uses for the current AI tools. And Trey is a successful strategic marketer with experience in developing integrated e-commerce business strategies for companies ranging from startup to Fortune 100. His business focus, team building, leadership, creativity, collaboration, and drive continually produce efficient results which grow revenue and exceed business goals. And besides that, he's been a professional marketer for at least 2 decades. I don't want to make you sound old. Trey, thanks so much for taking time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, tell me about what marketing was like when you first started. Because for me, we were still using fax machines. So
yes.
that's
Yeah, I remember I got my first email account on my first job, and I was like, "What are we doing here? What is this thing?" But man, has it evolved since we started.
It sure has. And I sometimes I just sit back and I think, if I could beam back to myself and say and explain the tools that we have at our disposal now, compared to going to the library and pulling the books out and finding the address of a company in Chicago to send them a letter. Like the speed to lead is would be like telling myself a lie, back in 1991.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't believe it, would we? I remember telling somebody at one point, "This is the most powerful computer you will ever need." And I think that was in 98, right?
Yeah, before the smartphone came out. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So it's kind of cool to have that perspective, and I do feel like a kid in a candy store with all the tools that are out now. It can get a little overwhelming in terms of all the different things to try out. But what in your agency are you seeing that are tools that are helping you get work done quicker, better, and with a little less drag on the systems?
Well, I mean, all these language GPTs, Chat GPT being probably the most known one, are really short circuiting the time to value that we can add as an agency. Whether that's writing an outline or asking it to brainstorm with us for email subject lines, just provides almost another team player. Yeah. Now, I feel like you need an expert, like at the steering wheel, right? I don't think we're 100% ready to go driverless yet in the world of marketing. Especially, I'm in financial services. It's a regulated industry, but the time to value, the brainstorming partnership, just the ideas that we can generate faster are definitely help our clients.
Yeah, and which are the LLMs have you found that you like the best for your work personally?
Well, we started on ChatGPT and we use it quite a bit. I will tell you that as we've started to think about doing some proprietary work, we've looked at Meta's models, just because we feel like we can maybe control a little bit of that IP as we build them out. Knowing that requires a lot of data, right? So I wouldn't say we've started that journey. We're testing that journey. We're playing with it. So ChatGPT has been kind of our default, but like I said, as we start to move into some proprietary stuff, we don't know that we want to be giving away, kind of pushing everything into the what I would call general cloud. And in their defense, I know that some of their B2B tools and some of their accounts are starting to wall off some of that content. But we've looked at Meta a little bit more when we've thought about the development side of the house.
That's cool. Well, tell me a little bit about, if you can, about what you're looking at developing, because this is always an interesting thing.
Yeah. So we're financial services, and so the content needs to be really good and really correct, right? It's people's money. And so we're looking at what's the expertise, how deep does the expertise go? And some of the expertise when it comes to leaning into products is relatively fast moving, right? And so a lot of the chat GPT work is based on historical content, older content, it's speeding up. But how do we inject some real time, maybe market data, market information, interest rates? How do we inject that into our language model so it helps us make better decisions? In our case, write better content,
Sure.
right? And so that's one of the areas that we have played with and are playing with. The other one is video customization. We have a video platform at financial advisors find it really, which is one of our big clients, find it very cumbersome to develop videos just because of the technical expertise that's needed today. And so we are trying to push down some of those walls using AI and some just current technology. And so that'd be something that we'd want to keep proprietary because we spend a lot of time developing it. And so that would probably be in one of those, like I said, more proprietary LLMs.
No, that's cool. So, yeah, I think it makes sense where we'd start to see these verticalized LLMs, right, that are calling consistently on, like you're talking about, the whatever interest rates or forward views from the Brown Book or whatever pieces of data that's verified, and that you can cite that without worrying about hallucinations.
Absolutely, and make good recommendations on top of it. Really, that's one of the things that's important to us today because I've been doing this for 25 years. I used to carry my licenses. I review a lot of our final content myself.
Okay.
And if it's over my skis, which it can be, we're talking about detailed financial services work. We pay experts like Bank Analysis and other folks to review the work because it's really important to us that we get it right. It's important to our clients we get it right. And so how do we gain confidence in those models? And for us, it would be, a little bit of proprietary work, a little bit of better data in them. So that's kind of the things we're looking at.
Yes, that's interesting. So I'm curious how you're kind of combining the video product to make it easy enough for a caveman to do it.
Yeah. So honestly, what we did was we started with these cameras and these mics, right? COVID changed kind of the setup that people have and honestly, people's comfort using them. And so our first step in the video world was to let's use the content we have today. The tools we have today. And then the second part is how do we inject good content? So we put teleprompter, right? We started writing scripts. For us in the regulatory world, we need to run through compliance. So how do we make sure that the content is compliant? And now, most recently, we injected a chat LLM to use prompting. Hey, I need a video script on saving for college, right? Living in retirement, those types of complicated topics that financial advisors like to talk about. We try to write them and give them, but a lot of times they may have a special, because of who they are and their brand, they may have a special angle they want to take. And so the first thing we did was inject just like a chat GPT type prompter into our video scripting.
Oh, nice.
We've got ideas for next year, which we could go into, but step one was how do we use just the tools that are out there today for customization and idea generation inside of the video tool.
I love it. And then what's the regulatory stance right now on AI avatars? And are you able to use something like HeyGen to produce it for your clients?
It's funny. We haven't found a financial advisor that wants to use an AI avatar yet. Okay. And if you think about the role of financial advisor, it's very much about their relationship and the trust they build with their clients. And so they're not ready to get out of the driver's seat to maybe defer to someone else. They want to maintain that relationship. And so for them, they haven't jumped at the idea of an avatar. That is something that we're talking about, even if it made it easier and faster, right? Or helped camera shy. How do we augment, if you will? And so we've talking a little bit about those things, but we haven't had a roaring need for the AI avatar yet. Now, when it comes out, and it will, right? And I think what it's going to be about is the final product accurate, right? Is the final product good? And, is the licensed person signing off on the accuracy of it, regardless if it's an avatar, if it's generated, or if it's a person talking into the camera.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the AI avatar thing is endlessly fascinating to me, just because we're getting into this space where, uh, number one, it's hard to tell what's been generated and what is a human, right? I mean, some of the video you see on Twitter with Donald Trump and whoever else, you're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, it's amazing how they could do that. So
Yeah.
we're really reaching that spot, and I think in the next 12 months we'll reach that spot where we're going to need a third-party validator that watermarks stuff one direction or another, so that we, as the consumer of that information, can know where it's coming from.
100%. I always laugh at the Putin baby. I don't know if you remember that, where they put,
Yeah.
obviously that was very early and very crude, but all of a sudden we were all like, oh, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I love, when comedy can help you kind of see that. But at the same time, some of our advisors are a little camera shy. Like,
Sure.
it's just not a natural place for them. And so if we can create a AI avatar that uses their voice, that looks like them, that is them, that they're writing the scripts on, but helps them deliver content faster. But they're still putting their stamp on it. Hey, that is me. Yeah, it's not 100% me, but it is me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be a place that'll, I think will go faster than not. So I'm actually really interested in that, because I think that'll drive product adoption. I think that'll drive video usage. But to your point, we've got to be really transparent about what we're doing.
Yeah, and from the agency perspective, it makes it way easier to create that full campaign for somebody, right?
Oh, 100%.
If you're able to write the script, have compliance approve it, have the the client sign off on it, and then you can just produce it and get it out in the world. I mean, you've removed
Like we do with an email today, right?
Yeah.
And anytime we can take, I mean, especially our clients, a lot of our clients aren't marketers. They're business owners, small business owners, and they're doing their job, which is serving their clients. And
Yep.
and that's one of the reasons I love supporting them. But to ask them to stop their day and step into the world of marketing sometimes is hard to get them to do. And so if we can continue to provide something that's just turnkey for them, I know that we know that it'll drive their business. That's where we can add some value.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, how we deal with the watermarking or clarifying when it's the stand-in versus the person, or or even if we need to, I don't know. I think those are interesting questions.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And like I said, I'm watching it closely because we've got a product, and I either want to get the product right or get out of the way so that we can use someone's really good product. But either way,
Right.
make sure that it's delivering value to the client.
And so this video product, is it going to be set up in a way that that people that are outside the financial services industry can use it, or is it going to be verticalized?
No, 100%. The question is how much. We'll have a lower price point. It's in beta today. It's at gobodewell.com. Sorry, shameless plug there, but it's got a lower price point. If you don't need the compliance engine, if you don't want a script, you just want to go in, and we have people going in, using it for their own businesses that aren't financial services. That's great. If they're going to use less tools, we'll charge them less. Like, we're happy to provide a service.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so what does the product roadmap look like for that? What are you trying to build into?
So quite honestly, it's a lot of customization. We started it almost as a vlogging, video blog type mechanism. Talk about a topic, put it up on a video vlog page like you would a blog page. This is my latest one. Let's and then share that out through your channels. Obviously, you need to push it through the channels. What we found is that people want to have one-to-one custom messages, right? They want to talk to their clients, or a segment of their clients, and so it's not applicable to everybody. So one of our first things that we want to do next year, start to create some gardens, some walled gardens, some different distribution models, even maybe some private pages. So you can leave a one-to-one message. You can leave a one-to-one voicemail, if you will. You can talk about a client's portfolio. Maybe it's got a password. So we want to get that into more of a customization world. The next place we need to do is lean into content quality, right? And so we'll lean back into that GPT and try to figure out, how do we make it smarter? How do we provide more depth of script? And then thirdly is a topic we were just having. And we're thinking about middle of the year, but like, how do avatars play a role? How can I record my own voice? How can I make it easier to record, right? Like, where do those play a role? Now, We're small, so I'm not going to blaze that trail. I want to follow somebody who's bigger and figuring it out, and the regulators are okay with. But we're watching that closely, and I hope that we can get it right, and that it helps the advisor. But I do think that will make the world of video even that much easier. To your point, it'll turn into us creating, like I said, emails versus them having to create videos, but there'll be video content.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's cool. Well, what have you seen around the way that the prompt writing has innovated over the last, say, 18 months with what you're doing and what your team's doing?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's getting narrow and more narrowly focused. And you can read blogs, whether it's from HubSpot or other folks, about prompt ideas. And when you read the later prompt ideas, they're saying things like, hey, what are the keywords that I should be writing on? In a blog on this, what are the keywords we should hit? Right? Like, based on my site, what are the, we're starting to get really specific in what it's doing, right? We used to say, write me, a blog on this, right? Give me 500 words. You give me an outline? But now it's gone to, hey, now that we've written the blog, what's the best subject line? Can you rewrite my intro? Or like it's very micro task focused. And that makes the content better, right? We're kind of revising it. We're pushing it back through the engines. But I definitely have seen a trend in the last, say, 3 months in all these like micro prompts, if you will. I don't even know if that's the right word, but that's definitely something that has changed most recently.
Or maybe it's the sequential prompting, right? Like, here's the blog, and then make it better, make this better, make this better. And so you're spending a little more time with a piece, getting it finely tuned. Yeah.
And then tuning it for the channels, right? Like, I wrote it as a blog, but now how do I turn it into an email, right? Like, that needs a subject line, that needs an intro that's a little bit different. Like, it's that kind of work that I think is really neat to see, but we weren't doing that a year ago. Like, we were just trying to get the original content piece out, and now we're realizing, oh, wow, we can do this too,
A little bit on internal processes. Do you have a written document that is about how your team is to use these AI LLMs?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's always evolving, right? And so right now we've got like a 5, 6, maybe 10 step process for using the prompts, but it's always evolving. Like I said, like, I don't have one written to say turn it into an email right now. Right now, most of what we've got written on is what's the best way to create the master piece of content. In our case, usually it's a blog is where things kind of start as a content agency and an SEO agency. And so we've got that one written well. I think it's going to be an ever evolving process. This step over into make it email to me needs to be documented. The other thing that I find interesting is like, when we first started using it, we're like, oh, this thing's great. And then all of a sudden we learned, Google doesn't love this content. They don't love AI content. So we're like, okay, use it for ideas, but have the human write the end of it. And then all of a sudden tools come out like Undetectable, and they're AI detectors. And then you're like, now you got a step where you're like, well, now that it's done, let's make sure that it doesn't look like it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's this thing that just keeps rolling, as far, at least that's what it looks like.
No, I would agree. This is as dynamic of a time as I can remember, and that where every day there's hundreds of new tools being built, and then the engines are learning and everybody's responding to the content that's being produced from the learning engines.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you, I had this question the other day. Somebody asked me, how do you stay sharp? What do you do? And I feel like one of my roles is to be a little bit of a researcher. I founded the agency. I do some of our business development. We talked about, I do a lot of our subject matter work, but I'm not in the day-to-day trenches all the time at this point in my career. But I start every day reading newsletters, looking at, what are people posting on LinkedIn on AI. And I'm trying to just notice the trends. And we have a Slack channel in our agency called Great Marketing. And I'm always posting, like, if I read an article that's like, 10 prompts that you should be using today, I'm posting that in our Slack channel. Like, I'm trying to be an advocate for our team, because I know that sometimes you get too busy to research. And so how can I supplement them? How can we share knowledge? Because to your point, it's evolving so fast. I feel like it needs to be somebody's role in the agency.
No, that's beautiful. I'm wondering what your take is on the generative engine optimization and what you're putting into action to be in front of that.
You know what? We're not really doing anything yet. I would
Okay.
say that it's one of those things that we're kind of in the roles we're in, and we're trying to perfect what we're doing today. So
Yep.
I think that's one of those feature items for us.
Yeah, I got you. And so you're still seeing that, because some people are maintaining that SEO as a business function is dead, but that's not your position at this point.
No, not at all. I mean, so I recently put together like an opinion piece for a client, a larger client, and he was saying, "What do you think the trends are?" And my piece of feedback was, stay true to specifically on SEO. Stay true to what we know works in SEO until we don't think it's working. And so that generative work is getting pulled from good content, from good domains, right, with good backlinks, that's got good experience, right? Like page layout and design feels friendly. And so I was like, we don't exactly have a playbook for that yet. So let's just stay really focused on the playbook we have today and watch how that works. I still haven't quite figured out how I feed it so that every answer about marketing comes back recommending Story Amplify.
Right.
but I do know how to write really good content that gets picked up, and what we think today can influence those answers. And so we're sticking there right now and watching.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a good play. Keep doing what works and innovate it as you can see how it needs to be innovated, and what else you're going to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that AI brings to the table is, we can look at a lot more data, right? And we can synthesize it. We can use multiple data. So it's good at that kind of thing. And so I think that takes us back to some of our blocking, tackling as marketers. What are our metrics, KPIs, whatever word you want to use? How are we watching them? What is working? What isn't? And then are we seeing wholesale trends and things that used to work, or is it seasonality, right? And so I think that what we have to do with SEO is watch it very closely and understand how it's worked in the past. And if we see something trending in the wrong direction, really, really dig in and say, like, is this because we're having a wholesale sea change and how that works? Or is this because we're having seasonality, or because somebody wrote us a better piece? And right. So we've got some work we need to do on the metric side, just to understand and watch what happens.
Love it. Well, I'm with you. I think that makes a lot of sense. We'll follow the KPIs and make some assessments.
Yeah, right.
Well, Trey, I really appreciate your time, and thanks for sharing your insights about what you guys are doing and about new products you're developing. If people want to get a hold of you and have a conversation, how do they do that?
Yeah, so our website is our agency name is Story Amplify. Our website is storyamplify.com, and that's the best place. We've got a contact form. We've got case studies. It's got a cool music theme. So we're in Austin, so why not, right?
Perfect.
No, so that's the easiest place. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Trey Robinson. I think it's like Trey-Robinson. It's pretty. I've been on there a long time. So, but the website's, like I said, the easiest place to find me.
All right, cool. All that information will be in the show notes, and I appreciate it. And I hope you have a great evening.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn.